This is a special edition of the Online Success Journey podcast. During these challenging times during the COVID-19 crisis, we're bringing you fresh and relevant ideas and information to help your business. Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. Today we have Stuart Atkins, a marketing consultant, speaker, and author. He helps businesses find their customers, tell their story, and audit their marketing in tough times. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Patience. How are you? Nice to talk to you today.
I'm fine, thank you. I know Declan, he is anxious to hear your story. So let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Well, thank you for asking. I worked in corporate marketing for about 25 plus years. I started out in the personal computer industry and worked for Toshiba America Information Systems for many years, and then went on to Kingston Technology. Kingston Technology is the world's largest third-party memory manufacturer for flash memory and memory modules, and actually the largest privately held company in Orange County, California here, where I'm from. They're a $10 billion a year company now. And then from Kingston, I went on to some smaller semiconductor companies and then went through some layoffs near the end of my career. And I stopped and I paused, Patience, and I said, you know what? I've been doing marketing for everybody else. Why don't I do it for myself? So I opened up my own digital marketing agency in 2008, Atkins Marketing Solutions. And I started out initially focusing on consulting for small businesses, and that's been growing ever since then. And I've started the past 3 or 4 years, I'm shifting more into a niche focused, working on Google AdWords and Bing advertising, paid search for small and medium-sized businesses. I do work sometimes with large corporations also. And then, so I had an opportunity to reinvent myself when I started my own small business. And I also went back into teaching. I'm a professor at the largest school of business in California, the 5th largest in the United States. That's Cal State Fullerton's Mihaylo College of Business and Economics. I teach part-time as a lecturer. I've done that since 2008 also. I don't teach as many classes as I used to because my agency is growing. I teach one class a semester now, and that's Internet Marketing Strategy. But in past semesters, I've taught consumer behavior, marketing research, marketing information technology, principles of marketing, entrepreneurship, a lot of different classes. And my teaching was good when I started my business because it gave me an opportunity to have some additional cash flow while I grew my business. But I still keep my toe dipped in the water of teaching because it's my way to give back, Patience. I love working with students, teaching students. I work with upper division marketing students and also teach MBA students. And it keeps me sharp and allows me to bring the real world of digital marketing that I work in every day into the classroom and to help students. I've hired past students for my agency, and I find it very rewarding. Like I said, even though I don't teach as many classes as I used to, it's still very rewarding to help students as they move on in their career also. I also wrote a couple of books, a book on small business marketing, and then my most recent book called Winning the Battle for Attention on Internet Marketing. And as you said, I do a lot of public speaking. I speak a lot on digital marketing and work with my clients. And I just love being an entrepreneur. And I'm a dad with 3 adult children who are doing well and just became a grandparent. And my wife's a nurse. I love the outdoors. And that's my life story in 3 minutes.
Wow, what a background, Stuart. Wow. Been around and you're still going around. Wow.
I try to stay busy.
But why do you do what you do?
That's a great question. The small business market in the United States and a large part of the world, for example, in the US, 50% of all businesses, all people are employed in small businesses in the United States. Small businesses drive the economic growth in the US and internationally. So I love working with small businesses simply because the variety is so interesting, the variety and the innovation. There's such a wide spectrum of businesses, high tech, low tech, medium tech, product companies, service companies, and the sheer variety is fascinating. And small businesses need to be able to compete with larger businesses. And digital marketing is a very effective way, if it's done properly, especially paid search advertising and some of my consulting, is a very effective way to level the playing field for small businesses. And small businesses provide such a valuable service globally, domestically and internationally, that I really love working with them. And what's interesting about small to medium-sized businesses and even large corporations, they all have a story. And they often started with an individual that saw a need, had a passion, and attempted to provide a solution to a problem that they saw in the market. And that often started out as a small to medium-sized business. And like Apple grew in a garage in Northern California, and Hewlett-Packard started in a garage also. Google started in a dorm room. So you just never know where these businesses are going to start. And it's working with the variety and the individuals and the story behind them. And it's very rewarding in that regard. It's a great question.
Thank you. You said you started your business 2008, and 2008 to 2009, there was also a pivot in the online world. How did you manage to start your business in that time?
I love your question because I just wrote a blog post on 15 tips for businesses and individuals. How do they deal with the COVID-19 market? And one of the points I made in those 15 tips of the blog post I wrote was that I started my business during an economic downturn in 2008, during a recession. And a lot of people don't realize it, but Federal Express, Microsoft, General Electric, a lot of major companies were started during recessions. So it's actually a good time to start a business. It's not an easy time, but there's often opportunity when the economy's struggling and when customers are looking for products that are really going to add value. So I would encourage individuals that there's more people today because of the environment that may have lost their job. This may be an opportunity for those individuals. They need to see it from a positive standpoint, not a negative standpoint. Sometimes an economic downturn is the best time to start a business because there's opportunity. There's concerns and needs about certain products or services. And it's often, if you're creative and innovative, you can fulfill a need. And there is success found in downturns. And I think people need to see it from a positive standpoint. As tough as it's going to be, and it's not going to be easy. We're not through this yet. There's still opportunity, and a lot of great businesses, small, medium, and big, have been founded during economic downturns, and my company is a perfect example of that.
What do you advise the new companies who are coming online in this difficult time and they want to do advertisement? How are you finding the advertisement side?
You know, you're batting 100% here with these questions. That's another great question. Advertising, if it's done properly, one of the biggest mistakes small, medium, and large businesses make, and I don't want to sound self-servicing when I say this because I do advertising. One of the greatest times to advertise is when there are tough economic times. The reason for that is, if you have the money, if you have the budget, it's a fantastic time, because what better time to gain market share than when your competitors are running into the corner and hiding in fear? There's less static in the market. There's more opportunity to express your brand awareness. There's less advertisers. Often advertising is lower cost. The actual average cost per click in Google Ads right now is going down. And so it's a great opportunity to gain market share, to allow your brand to cut through the fog and be seen on the radar, whereas in the past it may have been much tougher. So there's less people advertising, and it's a great opportunity. In fact, I've actually increased the advertising for my business, and I'm starting to see results as a result of that. So as I mentioned earlier, advertising, if done properly, whether in good or bad economic times, allows you to really showcase your brand, and it can be to your benefit and allow you to cut through the clutter and create brand awareness and sales. Sometimes it can actually be easier because there's less competition.
Thank you for sharing. Let's put demand aside. How did you know you are successful?
That's another very good question. That's an important question. Success in my business in digital pay-per-click advertising and consulting, the reason I know it's successful is because my clients are successful. Their success needs to be based on results, not feelings, not hopes, not dreams, although those are important, but they need to be based on results. So results-based marketing needs to look at the numbers. The best marketing is based on mathematics, not feelings. Now, emotions and lifestyle and passion about a product is important, but you need to look at the numbers. So let me give you an example. When I do advertising for a client, we want to look at the cost per lead, the cost to acquire a customer. So if you're spending X amount of dollars per month in advertising, and you get, let's say, for example, you spend $1,000 per month in advertising, and you get 10 leads the first month, that means it costs you $100 per lead to acquire that lead. If your profit margin for your product is $500, then you're making $400 on every lead that turns into an actual buying customer. So you want to look at the actual success matrix. You want to look at the key performance indicators. What does it cost you to acquire a customer? What does it cost for your advertising? What are your profit margins? So if you look at all those numbers, you want to make sure, especially if you're advertising, that your advertising eventually over time is making money. You want to generate revenue and net profit from that advertising. So it's really important that businesses look at the numbers. And there needs to be also return on investment and return on ad spend. Good marketing, digital marketing, whether it's social media, whether it's paid advertising, you need to make sure that there's an actual return on that investment. We had one client that we worked with for a couple of years that was in the home services industry, and we did an extensive return on investment analysis, and we were able to generate return on investment between about the 250 to 700% per month. That's because we looked at the financials and actually did a match back to the leads that we were getting them to their actual closed business. So it's really important that companies and small businesses close the loop and make sure that it's results-based marketing. They need to realize that everything that needs to lead to a measured event, and it needs to be tied back to their financials so they can see if the advertising is paying off, if it's making a profit. One good example would be, let's say you're doing digital advertising in one shape or form, and your average cost per lead or per customer is $100. And then you look at, and you're doing some traditional advertising. Maybe it's magazines, maybe it's a newspaper, and the average cost per lead for that is $300. Well, it's kind of a no-brainer to realize the digital marketing is giving you a higher return on that investment than the traditional marketing. Now, that's not to say you don't do traditional marketing, but because postcard mailers and magazine advertisements, radio advertisements can still be valuable. But it's really important that businesses look at the numbers and the math behind their marketing. And lastly, with digital marketing, I always say this, patience, and it actually fits into your name, patience. Time plus data plus patience is really important. Companies need to be patient with digital marketing. Sometimes you get results immediately the first month. Often it may take 3 to 6 months because the data, we get so much data now. whether you're running Google ads, Bing or Microsoft advertising, LinkedIn advertising, whether it's social media advertising, Facebook, whatever, we get a lot of data. But it takes time when we get that data to interpret it and make adjustments. So the companies that do best in their advertising have a time plus data plus patience approach. Some businesses understand that and they realize they need to be patient. Some don't and they get impatient. So patience is really important for businesses to allow the data and the time to work for their benefit. And in both the short and the long term, it's going to help them.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
From business as a whole, boy, that's a really good question. A couple of things. Number one, I've learned, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to make mistakes. I make mistakes every day. A mistake or a failure is the better word, because Winston Churchill once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And I love that quotation. The strongest businesses have the courage to fail because they know they're going to learn from their failures. And so it's a balance between being aggressive, being innovative, being wise, and being prudent. So you need to realize you're going to make mistakes, but learn from those mistakes and adjust from those. The second thing I've learned is make sure you pick the right customers. Be very focused on who your target market is. My target market is small to medium-sized businesses. Have a budget for marketing, have a budget for advertising. And so I go through a process to make sure that I really understand and know who my target customer is, because if you aim at everything, you're going to hit nothing. So that's why I make sure it's very important businesses are very focused and understand who their customer is, who their target market is. Then they're not wasting time on the wrong customers, and it increases their profit margins, etc. Number three, it's important to have a strong financial base for your business, and really, and I can't emphasize this enough, make sure you're using QuickBooks or some type of financial accounting system. Look at your profit and loss statement. Look at your balance sheet. Look at your cash flow. Look at the ratios. It's really important to understand the numbers behind your business. And then lastly, it's really important to make sure that you stay in touch with your customers. Some customers are going to stay long-term. Some customers may be short-term. But it's really important that you focus on those customers, meeting their needs. And as I mentioned earlier, making sure you're targeting the right customers for your business. There's probably a few other things I can think of, but those are some of the key aspects.
Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
You're exactly right. Not everyone is an entrepreneur. Now, what's interesting, I didn't think I would ever be an entrepreneur, but here we are. So, and in my case, it was a series of circumstances that led me to discovering, I do have an entrepreneurial spirit in me. I can do this. So it really depends on the personality. It depends on, some people are more risk averse, some are less risk averse. It's really hard to be successful as an entrepreneur unless you're willing to take a risk. Now, I'm not saying a gamble, and there's a big difference between a gamble and a risk. When you gamble, you're just throwing money out there and hoping you're going to win the slot machine. When you're taking a risk, you want to take a calculated risk. You try to have a financial base. You try to do the research for the right market. You try to target the right customer. You want to make sure you have a plan for your business and you know what your business model is. So you just want to make sure that there's a focus to your business, and you have an objective, and you're being thoughtful about it. You don't want to just operate on guesswork. You don't want to just throw Jell-O on the wall and hope it's going to stick. You want to be thoughtful about your business, but the best companies now at the beginning took some risk. And a risk is calculated, it's measured, it's not a gamble, and there's a big difference. And so you have to be wise, but you have to be fearless too. And some individuals are more comfortable getting a paycheck, working in the corporate environment, and they're into the safety. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm not criticizing that at all. Other individuals may have a passion. They may see a need and they want to fulfill it, and they have the skill set to do that. So like me, I worked for many years in marketing, and I learned from my corporate marketing experience. And then I took that experience and applied it to my business. So sometimes the best thing to do is work for a company, a good brand, for a number of years, and then branch out on your own. Because in my case, I had credibility. People knew that I worked for Toshiba, worked for Kingston. I've written a couple books. I'm a professor. So everything that I did builds credibility that helps the foundation and basis of my business. So it's really important people start a business in an area they're familiar with. You don't want to, I'm not an aerospace engineer. I wouldn't want to start building airplanes. Those airplanes would crash and burn if I did. You want to make sure that you work in a product area you're familiar with, you have an expertise, you have a foundation, and that increases the chance of your business being successful too.
In your businesses, do you ever have a mentor or a coach yourself?
Mentors. Yes, I do. More and more, I'm seeing the importance of that. In fact, every month, I go to a highly advanced networking group of about 40 business owners. We meet every month for 3 hours. We discuss our business. We have a speaker. We interact in small groups with that lunch meeting. And it's a 3-hour lunch meeting. It's very advanced, and we work together on building our businesses. I've met some great people from that, and they've helped me. I can call them for advice. If I'm struggling with a client or have a question, I can call them. I also, I'm reading more. For example, there's a really good book I've been reading by David C. Baker called The Business of Expertise. And it talks about focusing on a niche market and focusing on what you do best. And that's helped me focus more on PPC advertising and pay-per-click advertising, paid search, because that's more of my niche expertise. That book helped me with that. The author of that book also has a newsletter, a monthly newsletter I receive, and then I also listen to his webinars, and it's been very helpful. There are other mentors that I work with, and books that, another book I read by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1. It's the founder of PayPal, and he was one of the initial investors in Facebook. His book 0 to 1 is excellent. And so a combination of good reading and another mentor, Alan Weiss, who is considered the consultant's consultant. And he's been consulting for many years, and reading his books and going to his events, his seminars. And finally, I'll give you a good example. The CEO, one of the largest, most well-known digital pay-per-click advertising agencies. They have an annual conference called the Hero Conference. And I went to that conference, and I got to spend time with the CEO of that company, that agency. We had a 3-hour session with him, and he gave us tips and advice. And then after the conference, I was able to speak on the phone with him for about 2 hours and ask him questions, get feedback as a mentor. And that was part of the package I paid for that conference. The results of that were so valuable and helped me so much with my business that it's just a fantastic question, Patience, because mentors are critical. You've got to have someone that you can bounce your ideas off of, and a business disciple, so to speak, that can help you. And it's been really helpful. Oh, before I forget, one of the other points I meant to make earlier was, make sure as a business owner that you take the time to work on your business and not just in your business. Sometimes we get so busy, we're so busy working in our business with our clients, we forget to take the time to work on our business. And mentors have reminded me of that fact. I try to take a half a day once a week, or 1 day a week, or 1 day every 2 weeks to work just on my business. Look at my financials. Look at my lead generation. Write some blog posts. Make sure that I'm working on my business and not just in my business, because we get so busy, we forget to do that sometimes. And if we don't do that on a regular basis, it causes a cancer within our business, and it degrades the quality of how we can work with our clients, and it allows us to be stronger. So working on your business and not just in your business, take the time to do it. It's critically important. And as I said, mentors often encourage me to do that and remind me about that.
Thank you for sharing. What is one thing no one knows about you?
Well, there's probably a lot of things. One thing I love the great outdoors. One of my passions is camping, and I drive a big Ford 4x4 truck, and my wife and I have a trailer, and we also have an ATV, a two-seater ATV, and we'll put that ATV in the back of the truck. We'll connect our trailer, and we'll take a vacation to Montana, to Idaho, to Utah. And we love to go camping in the Sierra Nevadas. And getting into the great outdoors is really important. I have a tremendous passion for sitting around a campfire near our trailer in the mountains and just breathing in the fresh air and going hiking. But I love to go camping. And we've been to Yellowstone. We've been to Glacier National Park, to Zion, to Yosemite. We love the great outdoors.
What grounds you?
My faith does. My faith is very important to me. I'm a committed follower of Christ and Christianity, and I love reading the Bible. That's been a very strong part of my life for many years. I think any business owner, no matter what faith that they adhere to, is really important. It's very important to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And there's a lot of wisdom in Proverbs in the Bible that I read that I can apply to business. And my faith grounds me and helps me to see things outside of business, but yet makes my business stronger. I think our faith is really important. And I often like to say that God owns my business, I just manage it. So it's important that we realize that there is something bigger than ourselves. And so my faith really grounds me and is very important to me. And secondly, my family. I have a loving wife and kids, and we sometimes get so busy we forget to really spend proper and quality time with them. And so my family is a very important a part that grounds me. I always like to say about my wife, I married way over my head, and I'm glad I did.
Wow. Is that the tip you give someone who's looking for a partner? Yeah, for business owners out there, that's a tip from Stuart.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the person you marry, your partner, is very important. So it's a very important decision, especially we get busy with kids and everything. It's a very important decision, but you need to make sure you take time to spend with your family also.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it.
My business, Atkins Marketing Solutions, my agency is a digital marketing agency, and we focus on pay-per-click advertising and paid search. Many of my clients, they need advertising with Google Ads, our Microsoft advertising, which used to be called Bing, our LinkedIn advertising. It could be Facebook advertising, but primarily it's Google Ads and Microsoft Bing, and more we're getting into the B2B advertising with LinkedIn advertising. And we help small and medium-sized businesses and some large clients. We have an enterprise client that's a global high technology company, and pay-per-click advertising has been very important for them for lead generation. And usually we specialize in lead generation. So we help our clients generate phone calls and form fills for people that are searching online to find their product or service. And pay-per-click advertising is very important for them to appear at the top of the first page of Google. It's not easy. SEO is very important, but it takes a lot of time to appear on the first page. Pay-per-click advertising allows you to appear on the first page of Google if the account's set up properly within 24 to 48 hours, and you can start generating leads pretty quickly within that time frame. So pay-per-click, also we have some e-commerce clients too. So clients that may be selling products online. Paid search is very important and has been very successful for them. So we primarily target small and medium-sized businesses. As I mentioned, sometimes it's larger enterprise companies. Also, because of my consulting background for small businesses, what that allows me to do, the clients that we specialize in with digital advertising, allows me to understand their business model better, to do the marketing research, and to approach it from a much higher level. So we offer a free audit and consultation for a company that might be interested in pay-per-click advertising. We'll do an analysis of their website. We'll do the keyword research and make a recommendation on the monthly budget they'll need and what our services are going to cost and what it's going to look like to be successful for them. Our clients, as I said, are high tech, they're low tech, they're all different types of industries, primarily lead generation, but we do have e-commerce clients, and we're very much results based. Every month our clients get a monthly report that is focused on results based marketing. How many leads did they get? Was there a return on investment? What was the return on the ad spend? We do advanced call tracking where the phone call leads we get them are actually recorded, permission-based recording. We can analyze those. It really varies on the type of client, but we've seen pay-per-click advertising it's been very successful. It's not a fit for every business, but for most businesses, if they're patient and have the right budget, they can be very successful, and it can be a great source of leads and revenue for their business.
Where can we find your business and how can we connect with you?
Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. My website is Atkins Marketing Solutions.com. It's Atkins like the diet with a T, not a D, Atkins. So Atkins Marketing Solutions.com. I have a contact page and a phone number on my website. I also have a blog on my website that has 350 plus blog posts, a lot of free information on AtkinsMarketingSolutions.com. And from that blog post covers all things related to marketing. I've also written 2 books, Winning the Battle for Attention, Small Business, Internet Marketing for Small Business, and Small Business Marketing, A Guide for Survival, Growth, and Success. Those are available on my website and on Amazon. But my website has a lot of free resources for small businesses, and people are welcome to connect with me. There's some videos on the website also.
So, clan, there will be more from Stuart in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Stuart's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for a bonus portion of the interview. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for the path to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. Once you have joined the clan, click on part 2 of Stuart's or over 200 plus other journeys that are available and learn how you can find the right path for your own online success journey. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Stuart. Welcome back to Online Success Journey. This is episode 248. The journey continues with Stuart. Welcome back, Stuart.
Thank you very much, Patience. I appreciate the time.
What are you still doing in a way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
You're asking a lot of great questions. I love this. How we use our time is so critical. What Alan Weiss, that consultant I mentioned earlier, he says, quote, real wealth is discretionary time and money is merely fuel. So the most valuable commodity in the world, and it's more valuable, it's not even a commodity, it's more valuable than gold, is time. And why is time so valuable? In fact, time is far more valuable than money or gold or anything of monetary value, because time can't be replaced. Once time is gone, you can't replace it. Therefore, we have to use our time extremely effectively. Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, once said that those that get ahead in life are the ones that use time more effectively. And as we know, Henry Ford invented the Model T and Ford Motor Company and all of that. So looking at how efficient we are is really important. So what I try to do, I have a whiteboard in my office, and I put my to-do list on that whiteboard. So that keeps me organized. Number 2, I use Google Calendar to make sure that I'm putting all my scheduled events and phone calls and like this, our time together today, are scheduled out. Number three, I try to use spreadsheets to organize my client work as far as quality assurance, QA spreadsheets, to make sure that things that I learn, mistakes I may make, successes I may have, I'm cataloging those. I try to exercise on a regular basis so I'm strong physically because I'll be more efficient. I try to take breaks, make sure that I don't sit all day and get up every 30 minutes and walk around and stretch maybe. And I try to use my time effectively and try to organize my objectives for the day and work on priority. I try to work at the most important and the hardest projects first, and then work on the lower priority projects later on. And I also try to take breaks and make sure that it's really important to step away from the computer, go do something different, and realize that even though time is the most important aspect of business, because if you don't use time effectively, you're not going to make money. And on the other hand, you have to realize, like I said, time is more valuable than money. So there's a balance there. Having the strength to stop doing what you're doing, take a breath, go outside, take a vacation, and don't be a workaholic. It's important to clear your brain, and part of that is an efficiency aspect. But lastly, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. Make sure that whether you need to watch a funny video, spend time with your kids, or just laugh at yourself, don't take yourself too seriously. By doing that, you become more efficient. So taking the time to plan your day, organize things is really important. But you don't want to become so focused on that you're not human, because we're all human with regard to that. But those are some of my efficiency tips. Great question.
Thank you. Okay, tell my client about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
This is a great one. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Are you sure? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, hold on to your seat. This is a good one. In 2012, I wrote a blog post entitled The Product and the Toilet Seat. Now, here's why I wrote that blog post. There was a toilet seat in our house that failed. So my wife sent me to Home Depot. I had to go to Home Depot and I had to find a new toilet seat. If you go to Home Depot or any of the big box retailers, you will see a whole section full of toilet seats. There's toilet seats that are bamboo. There's toilet seats that are stainless steel. There's toilet seats that play music. There's toilet seats that will wash you, that are heated. There's $5 toilet seats. There's $500 toilet seats. So when I was there, it dawned on me. I said, that's a great idea for a blog post. So I wrote that blog post entitled The Product and the Toilet Seat, and all I did was talk about how a simple commodity product can also be a premium product if you innovate it, you make it different, you make it unique, you make it special. So the CEO of a $10 million international toilet seat manufacturing company read that blog post. And he said to himself, oh, this was written for me. So he read my blog for 2 years. He bought my first book. And then in 2014, he became a six-figure client. Now, that story really rocked my world, because I thought, wow, had I not written that simple blog post about that toilet seat failure, I wouldn't have gotten that six-figure client 2 years later. So it showed me, patience, the power of content, the power of writing a story about a product, about an example, and you just never know who's going to find your website, who's going to read that content, and how it's going to resonate. So that, to a degree, that transformed my business, and it showed me how powerful content really can be, and if someone can find you online, what that can turn into. So just a simple product like that, actually, that was the second best year that my business ever had. 2019, last year, was my best year ever, but it was all because of that simple blog post that I wrote. And you just never know when you're going to get an international client as a result of something both. It was random. It was almost accidental, and it was almost luck. But it was a combination of some skill and putting all of that together that turned into a great but a true entrepreneurial story.
I hope at the end you found a toilet seat. What toilet seat did you buy at the end? The bamboo, the music, which one?
I did, and in fact, both of the toilet seats we have now are they're bamboo toilet seats. They're wonderful. We love them, and they're actually from that company that became the client. But we did find, it's funny. Toilet seats are important. You just can't survive without them. So we forget that. But I did find the toilet seats. I'm glad you asked that important question.
You're gonna be hearing people calling you about the toilet seat.
Well, in fact, I often say, after they tell that story when I speak, I am a speaker too. I speak a lot in public about for events and et cetera. People hire me to speak, and after I tell that story about the toilet seat, I often say, I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't trying to put a lid on this issue, but I did want to flush out the topic to make sure that you understood about this product.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Now this is gonna be a really funny clip. Okay, thank you.
It's a great story, but it's true. It really is true, and every time I tell it, it just makes me laugh, but it also makes me very happy. That's got to be the first time maybe you've interviewed someone about toilet seats.
I'll never forget that. Every time now I'm going to touch on. Yeah, Stuart, I remember that. Okay.
The blog post is still on my website too. It's called "The Product and the Toilet Seat," and it's a very simple, short blog post, but it turned into a six-figure blog post. So you just never know.
You will know this year. When I am on YouTube and talking about this clip. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what will be written on it?
I think that quotation that I mentioned earlier from Winston Churchill, it's the courage to continue that counts. And the combination of my faith and the courage to continue is really important. And because in business, sometimes it's easy to sometimes we can get discouraged. And we need to realize, on the one hand, we need to take one day at a time, but on the other hand, we need to realize there's 365 days in a year. And if you look in the long run, in the long term, things usually work out. And just to remind myself to keep moving forward, to stay positive, to rely on my faith and not to get discouraged. I think that's what I would put in there. The courage to continue is really what counts.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I think I would buy a really nice toilet seat.
To do what? This is the only money you have left within your business. You need another toilet seat. Down which plays the music, and then you put gospel music in it.
Okay, now you asked the question. You set yourself up for that one. Okay, all kidding aside. Besides buying a nice toilet seat, what I would do, I think what I would do is, with just $100. That's a good question. That's a hard question. I think if someone gave me $100, I think I would try to find something that I need that would help me with my business, help me work on my business rather than in my business. Or for example, maybe I would invest it in additional advertising, even though it's a small amount. Exponentially, it could be a valuable amount. So I think I would look for something that could be tangible, something that I would purchase to help me to work on my business. Maybe a subscription to an application that's going to help me be more organized, or something that would help me work on my business, and tying that back to what we had talked about earlier.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're on the way?
It's a combination. Being effective in business, you need to be humble. And often business itself will humiliate you. Just when you think you're at the top of the world, you could, clients come and go. Last year, we had a huge client, and we were able to get that client 7,000 call leads over a 4-month period. They had it was a swim school that had business locations in 26 different locations in 2 or 3 different states, and they were a huge client. It was a great success, but that client decided to try to do all their advertising in-house, even though we had done a phenomenal job for them. It was nothing that we had done, but it was so. Sometimes clients and customers go, and sometimes clients and customers arrive. So you have to realize you can't control that sometimes. So it's part of staying positive with that regard.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
My website is Atkins Marketing Solutions.com. Atkins with a T, like the diet. No relation to the Atkins diet, though. And on my website, there's a contact page. My phone number's on there. My email is on my website, and my website also has about 350 blog posts related to marketing, free marketing information, and my book information is on there. And if someone's interested in booking me as a speaker or for digital advertising or as a client, all that information is on my website at atkinsmarketingsolutions.com.
Stuart, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you, Patience. We had a great time. I didn't think we would be laughing so much, but that's the best part of business is we need to laugh, don't we?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. That's a wrap, clan.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.